All right, EXPs, family, friends, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time tonight to join us and myself and Miss Jana for this awesome discussion on finances. As you guys know, I fact check. I know y'all in the group, you guys fact check too. So I took my time to diligently seek the right person to bring into the group and to talk to you guys about finances, stocks, ETFs, wills, trusts. We're not going to be able to cover it all, but we're going to do our best to talk about the most important things and answer all your questions tonight. So before I introduce Miss Jana and let her tell you all about her amazing credentials and her history, as some housekeeping etiquette, drop all your questions in the comments for us, and we'll do our best to work through and get to them in the next hour. We'll see how it goes, hour and 15 minutes. Also, I'm going to go back and read some of the questions that I received today. So Ms. Jana will definitely work to get through those questions as well. And then two, I have listed in the comments to everyone, we have Mrs. Jana's website where you can go sign up for a free financial analysis. We're going to be doing a special giveaway tonight to the first 10 people who sign up for a free financial analysis. We're going to give away a free copy of How Money Works. And Ms. Jana is going to talk about this awesome book and why all of us need to have a copy, because I've been reading it and it's awesome. And then two, we're also going to be discussing the various ways in which you can build wealth and look at possibly making this a series for weeks to come, because as you know, we're not going to be able to fit everything in. So without further ado, I'm going to let Ms. Jana have the floor, tell us a little bit about her background, her history and finances, and then she's going to be talking about the milestones and all the questions you guys have. So Ms. Jana, go ahead and take it away and give them a little bit,
Okay, well, thank you so much, Jay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My heart and soul is in bringing financial literacy to Main Street America, because it's so important, because the industry has always talked to the very wealthy, but they don't happen to talk to everybody else. And you might hear a little background because it's 7 o'clock in New York and people really are going out and thanking the first responders at 7 o'clock. Get out there and bring bang and everything. But anyway, just to give a little bit of a background on myself, I started really, well, it all starts with my dad. I got to give him a little accolades, because he told me that he who writes the check is free. And so at the age of 8, I was out there trying to find out how was I going to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that was the word. I just knew I needed to learn how to write a check. And so then from that point, as I got a little older, and I do believe in mentorship, and my high school teacher had a tax office, and so I started my entrance to entrepreneurship, doing taxes at the age of 17. But 2 years later, I bought the business from him. Wow. And so I have been in business for over 40 years, 41 years, doing taxes. But for 35 years, I've been dealing in finance and investments. And the reason why I started on Wall Street and I started trading, I'm one of the first African-American women to really be a full service trader on Wall Street. And the reason I did that was because when I would send my clients to financial advisors, they couldn't get served. They were told they didn't have enough money. And I didn't understand it. So, during that time, that was the early 80s. Really dating myself. So I had to go see why. And when I did learn, I understood that the average investor had to have a $100,000 income and about $500,000 to invest. That was not my client. And so I went to look to see what else could I do to do that. So I decided to trade myself, learn how to get my licenses. So I have been doing that I retired from Wall Street when I was 38 years old and started more businesses. But my major focus has been to bring financial literacy to Main Street and help our communities out here, the urban community. And I understand the urban community means a lot to different people, but to me, it just means the city. the people who are not being talked to. And so that's why tonight I'm very happy to be able to meet with your audience and to share some information and then to field the questions. I'd love to take the questions, maybe not have all the answers, but I know how to get them. Okay.
Yeah, so being in New York and working on the floor in Wall Street, what are some things that that you have learned over the years with regards to finances? And I know you're going to jump into the 7 money milestones in a minute,
Right.
but what have you just learned as a female, as a minority female, and then also just as a woman in the financial sector? How has that been?
It's been difficult. It still is difficult. The average woman in the United States makes about 76 cents to every dollar that a man does. When they see us first. They don't see our brilliance and our mindset. It was a struggle. But one thing that I did learn while I was on Wall Street, which was the fact that I could do it and other people could do it. And the fact is that it's really not all that difficult. Look, the Wall Street Journal is at a 12th grade reading level, so it's not neuroscientist. I would love to say, all the licenses I have and all the stuff that I've done, that's really no, it's really not neuroscientist. It's passing an exam and wanting to help people and make a difference. And so what I learned from being, as I call it sometimes, in the belly of the beast, because that was really a beast, that was a time in the 80s that you really needed to understand how to analyze. And, we didn't have all these computers. I have to laugh because I know I talk to reps now and they talk about their computers. I had a Quotron. It was this big machine on my desk. Okay. And so analyzing today is really a lot easier. You can go on the internet, you can figure out, and that's one of the things, we're going to talk a little bit about, is the difference between stocks and bonds. And how do you pick a stock? The thing is, this market has changed greatly. And as a matter of fact, the entire industry has changed. Yeah. It used to be you could not trade and get a stock without talking to a broker. Mm-hmm. Discount brokerage took that out and threw it out the door, and so it's more so taking what we know and what industries are active and trying to help people reach their goals. I think it's more so in the planning now than the selling. Our job was to sell. I remember years, and I'm gonna really date myself. It was like in 1984, we brought Tofuti. It was a tofu ice cream to the market. And I was calling up folks, telling them, look, we got tofu ice cream. And I had to laugh now because that's a real traded stock right now. But it started off at like 25 cents a share. And, that was then. Now there's stocks that come to the market, but it's not about that. It's about really planning. When I started in the industry, people were really working towards, to do your retirement, you had the 3-legged stool. You had, your pensions, you had your Social Security, and then you had your savings. That was a little extra. Well, this is a broken 3-legged stool right now. Matter of fact, it's a 1-legged stool that's cracked. Yeah. And so Social Security, I love y'all. I thank you. I thank you so much for y'all adding to Social Security and taking care of me and all the rest of the folks who are over 60 years old, but you're not probably going to get much of anything. So you should walk up to everyone who's over 60 years old and say thank you to me. But pensions, most people, I had a young person in my office not too long ago and said, what is a pension? I said, well, that used to be when that's that okie doke we used to sell people, was that you go to school, get a good education, work 30 years, and then you're going to retire because someone's going to give you some money at the end and you're going to live off of 50% of your income. Boy, how appetizing is that? It's not happening. And so we've got to take our power in our own hands and learn how to invest and not be shy of this market. We are the market, and so that's what I've learned through the ages. I've watched this industry change, and especially right now with this coronavirus going on,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the traders and stuff they're at home. They have not opened up the street. We don't know what it's going to look like, and businesses are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got to come about the new age.
Yeah.
How are we going to make it? And if your business is not in some ways virtual, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You're in trouble. And that's why what we're seeing, who would think a Neiman Marcus or a JC Penney would be talking about
bankrupt?
bankruptcy?
Pier One I saw today.
That's it. That's it. Who would think that? We think those are icons. They're going to live forever. They can't. Yeah. So there's room, because I know in every situation like this is a time when millionaires are made. Mm-hmm. You just got to come out with where the problem is, come with the solution, and find somebody to pay you for it.
Yes, speak, Ms. Woodhouse. So leading into the 7 money milestones. And as you know, my group is composed of a lot of entrepreneurs. We have a lot of independent contractors. We are the gig economy. We execute for brands and do consumer engagement. And right now that is not happening. Our industry is completely at a halt because of the pandemic that has occurred. Mm-hmm. Why is it important right now? And I'll go ahead and jump into, putting the 7 money milestone presentation up. But why is it important right now for people to not only, purchase this book or do a financial analysis with you and your team, but also understand the importance of investing and saving and financially setting themselves up for the future?
Because if you don't have a plan, you are really planning to fail. And I know that's a colloquial statement, but it's true. And right now, because this country, there's only about 24 states in the United States that have any sibling of of financial literacy taught in the high school level and making it mandatory. That means that it's not by happenstance that they want to keep us ignorant. And that's part and part why the name of the book is How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, because it's a little bit of a joke, but it's really true. If you go into the banks, when we could go to the bank, you walk into the bank and you look to the left of the teller and to the right, and usually there's a bunch of lollipops there, what we call sucker. And for the most part, they even told us how they felt about us because they were named dum-dums. Yeah. So that whole element of us not knowing makes it easier. And it's just like when we hear things on the financial news, most of us, Main Street America does this. We click it and say, turn the channel. But the reality is, like, I just had a client call me today. They said, I think I need the interest rates are low. They're low. I said, yeah, they're low for the bank. Mm-hmm. That's the cost of money. But if we knew this, then we wouldn't be looking for them to put it into an availability product for ourselves. So that's why it's so important. The first level is to become financially literate. You don't have to know standard deviation and all that. I'm telling you, it's not that deep. You just need to know the basics and the things that disturb you so that you can have a future and build a legacy for your family and the next and the next. That's what's so important. That's why.
All right, so let's jump into these 7 money milestones. And we're going to come back and make this a series of different discussions. So we're going to do a short, and Ms. Woodhouse is going to go through a shortened version so we can get to your questions and talk a little bit about stocks and ETFs, because that's what you guys wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and take our beautiful faces off the screen.
Okay.
Ms. Woodhouse, go ahead and take it away.
All right. So the 7 milestones, and I'm going to move this a little bit here. Okay, we got it going on. There's 7 basic milestones that we came up with, which making it kind of simple is to know what structure, how do I get started? Because a lot of people we want to do it, but we don't know where to get started. And one of the ways to get started is to don't do it alone. And what do I mean by that is to find a financial advisor or professional who will work with you. Now, I have a little bit of a bias because I feel that the person should be a fully licensed investment advisor. And again, I'm training people to become financial advisors. I'm using this brain that I got here and all this information I've gotten to share with individuals to be able to understand, to teach this, because this is a lesson, and a lot of people don't want to be involved in the heaviness of it. They just want to know the basics. So don't do it alone, I think. And that's one of the reasons why we offer the financial needs analysis. So the first level of the milestone is to get a financial education. I say read the book. The book is a whopping 127 pages. Most of them are cartoons and little funny innuendos taking place. It took me, and I'm a slow reader, it took me all of an hour to read it. So it's not a heavy situation. Don't shy away from the book. I know that we're used to auto books and stuff like this. This is one of those fun situations. The next thing is secondly, is to secure proper protection. Now, most people say, well, I don't believe in insurance. And I say this is not a religion. This is something you got to do. Okay. You don't have to believe in it. Just do it. And the reason why is we need all types of insurances. Proper protection is not just life insurance, which you do need, but also your health insurance. One health situation for someone who's self-employed could knock their entire business out. And especially if they're self-employed and they're not holding a business where something can go on even if they're not around. And then disability insurance. You work for yourself, you need to know what happens if I get laid up like this with the corona. Many of businesses are closed because the owners are flat on their back, and there's no income coming in. And we got folks waiting for $1,200, which in New York definitely wouldn't make a difference. So, those are the type of things to make sure that you're properly protected and that a financial hardship does not knock out your business partner, your spouse, doesn't put your family in jeopardy. I was listening to Gabrielle Union, and she was saying, everybody's talking about the actors and stuff. They make it rain, and have all this stuff in the clubs. But the average actor, which we're doing a session for actors and artists and people in the in the fashion industry, and I'm doing that on Thursday. And the thing is that most of them are one paycheck away from being homeless. That's how deep it is, so that's one, is the proper protection and what kind of insurances to get. And if you already have life insurance, then when was the last time you had it reviewed? Check it out. You've got to you should review, just like we do annually our physical for our health. Well, you got to get yourself the checkup from the neck up for your finances. Okay. Then you have the emergency fund, and especially people who are in business. I know they say the average is 3 to 6 months of your take home pay, or what your income should be for your business. I say for most people, especially when you're in business for yourself, you need to have at least a year to the side. And so that's your emergency fund. When you use it, you got to put it back. Okay, you got to be focused on it, because a lot of people are out here now talking about, it's time to invest and stuff, and they don't have an emergency fund. If they lost all their money in the market, they would have nothing to fall back on. So before you start jumping in talking about, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make $1 million and invest it, be careful. Make sure that you've put your plan together, and that's not that hard. There's simple things that I tell people to do as far as their emergency fund. Make it fun. Sometimes it's like as little as saving $1 for every week in the year. That'll give you $1,378 at the end of the year. It's not going to take you through total financial freedom, but if you keep doing it, before you know it, you're saving. Have some fun. I tell people to hoard your fives. Every time you know how we go to the store and we got $20 in our pocket, we become David Copperfield. The money disappears. And so that from happening. If you come back home and you look in your wallet and even have your kids involved in it, if you got $5 in your wallet, you got to put it away, hoard it. Just don't touch it. Mm-hmm. Start to put away something for, like grandma used to say, a rainy day. Mm-hmm. And so those are just some of the ideas to do. Then we have debt. You know, I know nobody's listening to me here has any problems with debt, but I'm sure you know somebody. Oh. So when you deal with debt, and there's good debt and there's bad debt, okay? And you got to know how to use it. And you need some guidance in that, you know, and that's why we teach the rule of 72, which is take your interest rate and divide it into 72, and it will tell you how frequently your money will double. But also on the other side, which really sometimes upsets me, is that the banks, they're making so much more money. They'll give us 0.09% on our savings while they're making 20% on a credit card. Mm-hmm. Look at that spread. That's what they call a spread. Mm-hmm. So we have to find a way by which we can minimize and possibly eliminate debt. You know, the average debt that we should be carrying is no more than 23% of our debt, that of our total debt ability. Okay, so what we have as debt only should be using about 23% of it. And that will keep your score high. But there are things that you can do to make that better. And even for your business, you know, in many communities, you know, when you start your business, you don't have the greatest credit sometimes because you're dealing with a small business or something, and you have to guarantee your debt, you know, your business. And so you've got to start to build it, but don't let that stop you. Keep going, work with it, and get someone to help you to work with it. It works. And the fifth one is increase your cash flow.
In 1 second, Miss Jana, I posted your email, but I think I got it wrong because some people have already started trying to reach out to you for the analysis.
Okay.
What is it Jana.Woodhouse or Jana B? Give it to me again.
It's Jana, Jana B. dot Woodhouse. So it's Jana B. Woodhouse at wealthwave.com.
Okay, I forgot the B. That's my fault.
Yeah, the B. You can't go without the B. There's a numerologist that's in New York called Lloyd. He's Lloyd Strayhorn, very well known across the world. Even did something with Oprah and stuff. And he told me never let them get rid of my B. It'll keep me prosperous.
So it right now, I'm going to be sending the email out in the comments again, so people will have it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're going back, and we're going, because I'm gonna get through this quick, is to go to cash flow. Cash flow, and now I'm getting ready to say a dirty word, budget. That's what the cash flow is all about. In your businesses, in your personal life, you have to budget. And don't do what everybody normally does, is keep the budget in their head. You can't do it there. You've got to write it down. This is one time when the computer, it's cute. All the little apps that are out there, they're nice, but it's something about physically and metaphysically. I'm a metaphysical minister. It's metaphysically, you need to write that budget and see what you really are taking in and what you are spending. Because at sometimes we're looking at stuff and we're buying stuff that we don't need to buy. That's just the deal. There's a difference between a need and a want.
Yes.
You know, you need to eat. Okay. You want the $5,000 pocketbook. Okay. But you need to eat and clothe, and you need to create a savings and a backup for your business. And you need to have your retirement. I don't care what stage in business you are, you need to set your retirement account. Because you do, unless you plan on working for the rest of your life, you need to set up something as a backup so that you can say, at this point, I can sell my business, or at this point, I can bring somebody else in to do the work, you know? So a budget is necessary, and the cash flow, if you are not having a positive cash flow, that's when you have to look at your business and see, what do I need to do to generate more money, you know, or do I have to change up close that down and start something else. There is basically the industries that are out here. We know the real estate industry. We know the retail industry. The retail industry is going to start to look a lot different, because we know the Amazons in this world are taking over. And so the real estate industry, there's a sale out there right now getting ready to come, because when this situation with the CARES Act is done, that's only 90 days. If people can't pay their mortgages after the 90 days, there's going to be some ugly stuff happening out there where there will be foreclosures. And there's sales for people who have money put to the side. But those are two industries. But I'll tell you, the financial service industry is the largest industry in this world, in this country especially. And it is larger than the retail and the real estate industry combined times two. It is one that they've been trying to keep away from Main Street America, and it's about time it gets disrupted so that people understand that when you're dealing with money and how money works, that's a powerful position, and you can make money doing it. Okay? The sixth milestone is to build your wealth. Now, that's when you're looking at your portfolios. And yes, there's things that you can invest in, little money. And there's groups out there. There's apps that are out there for you, like Amazon and Acorn, to help you start to save a little bit. But you need to be very much involved in what's going on with your future. And it's not about get rich quick. I'm just going to put it out there. Every year that we have some kind of issue in our economy, these things raise their heads to get you to make money real quick. Let me tell you, a buck made fast is a buck made gone fast too. So you need to be structured and build the wealth. Why? Because if you put that money away and you've got a purpose for everything, be it this is for my life insurance, this is for my retirement. Okay, this is my little extra money. I got discretionary, the word discretionary income. I got that. So let me put that, I can play with that a little bit. But what happened to a lot of people, and I'm going to talk about it too, is that we got into the cryptocurrency world. And this year was the first year that IRS decided to ask the question, are you invested in cryptocurrency? Are you invested in any virtual currency? There's a reason behind it, because just like they did in 1987 when it came to bartering, the year they asked the question, 2 years later, they started taxing it. Watch what's going on. Be aware. Watch the signs, and that's what I'm watching. I'm watching the signs and I'm saying, things are getting ready to change a little bit. So don't get too comfortable saying, oh, I won't be taxed on it. There's a thing called capital gains, and they look for it in everything we do, because that's how they get their money. The government gets paid. So you want to build your wealth and build it to the point whereas the last milestone is to protect that wealth. And what does that mean? That means making sure you have a will. You do some estate planning. Many people have children who, as I'm side note, they're getting ready to go to college. They're 18 years old. Guess what? They're adults. You need to make sure that they sign certain paperwork so you can assist them if they become distressed. If because adults, you have to have a HIPAA form for them, because just because you're the parent doesn't mean that you can go in and assist them.
Right.
They're adults. So you've got to protect what they have as far as their life is concerned, and you got to protect yours, and you got to make sure that you're building this legacy so that they can continue on with it. So you have to have certain documents. I have watched families break up because someone didn't put it in writing of what they wanted. And so grandma told me I was going to have the house. No, grandma told me I was going to have the house. And then the next thing you know, nobody's talking to each other. And the probate courts are having a ball with it. They get to keep everything. They keep $3,000 at a pop, because someone didn't put a beneficiary on their account. So those little things we have to do, even if you have the smallest of entities, what you do is you put together the documents. And again, that's a whole nother session. But by doing that and making sure that your estate is protected. And some people say, well, I don't have no money. You a business owner? What happens if you leave this earth?
Mm-hmm.
Who's got it? Do you have a partner? Does your partner, do you need a buy-sell agreement? Because does your partner want to be in business with your family? Probably not. You know, so these are the things that you have to address. And I always say is that the best thing to do is to sit with a financial advisor. And it doesn't matter anymore where you're located. I'm registered in every state, but it used to be, how am I going to get to these people? Well, with Zoom and Skype and all that, I can service anyone. And I have associates in my office with me that are eager to help folks and I have imparted every bit that I have. And then after they sit with a person, they still go through me to review what they've done. So this way they are getting a whole part of energy and education that I have, in addition to assisting a person and for them to become financially free. So these are the financial milestones. Every area in your life will basically touch one of these milestones. And so I just say to you is that all of you, if you're interested, we've got the information in the chat. Please contact us. Let us know and let me know what I can do to help you, because this is a time that we have never seen this before in our lifetime, and the world has changed, and we got to learn how to do business another way. And so I'm just saying to you, thank you again for the time to talk to you and to show you this. There's so much more, but if you go to email me, we will have a ball, because I want to make finance fun. So I'm hoping this was helpful.
And while you're here and while we're talking about that, I'm just going to bring our pretty faces back on the screen and leave this up for a minute before we get to questions. A lot of people, I'm going to play devil's advocate. A lot of people may be thinking, is this like a scheme? Are you trying to sell me services or sell me your financial plan or your financial package?
Right. When you get to me, how much is this going to really cost me? Because I have had people sit in front of me for the financial needs analysis, and they're like, okay, so I'll pull the checkbook out. How much? It really is free. And if you don't want anything else than that, go ahead. I don't mind helping someone to get through, but I can only meet them at the level that they want to be met at. So yes, I will give the free financial analysis. I'm in business to make some money too. So if you see that you can work with me, because that's how we get to know. I get to test you, you get to test me. It's like when you go to the doctor, you get a referral from a doctor, and you get to the doctor and you realize that doctor doesn't have any bedside manner at all. You're like, I'm out. Right? The same thing is with the financial service industry. Interview, sit with them, see if you can, because this is someone that's not going to be with you just for, that's one time. If they are, you need to run. If they have a plan and everybody has the same exact plan, like buy term, invest the rest, that's it. If that's going on, run, because we're individuals. It's just like if you went to the doctor and everybody in the doctor's office got the same exact medication. Would you stay? No. You're like, oh, no. So the same thing is with your financial plan. It has to be individual. So yes, on the side, someone can see, and you have the right to look. And I tell folks, Google me, see what I'm about. And if I'm someone that you really want to work with, then let's do that. If not, it's okay, but still get the book. I'm willing to give the book out there, because I think that it's the first time I've seen. I was trying to write the book and someone jumped me. One of my partners jumped me with it. So I'm like, hey, I'm look, if it's going to change someone's life, let's do it.
And again, the book is How Money Works, and Miss Woodhouse is going to be giving out the book to 10 people who go ahead and email her tonight and sign up for a free financial analysis. So definitely, guys, it's truly free, and I encourage you to go ahead and take advantage of that today. But you brought up a great point, and as we've been talking through the milestones, I made my notes and I have questions too. But
okay, good.
But I just go over really quick for someone who is looking for a great financial advisor or someone to work with and build that relationship with. What are your top 3 to 5 questions that they need to be asking an advisor today?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. So first and foremost, what you want to do, because as financial advisors, we can be referred by someone without initiating it, but we can't go out and give people who our clientele is, because this is one of the most, it's almost like with the doctor. Doctor can't tell all the stuff that they're doing for you. So what I say is ask what first thing is, what is the major focus that we as financial planners will be focusing in on your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone starts him and haw, or they say, well, what you got, run. All right. What you want them to say, what you're looking for is, what's your goals? What's your dreams? Can we work with this? I want you to dream a while. I had a woman that came into my office and she had been through 5 financial advisors interviewing. And she came and she put her whole portfolio in front of me. And I said, that's nice, but I don't want to see it yet. I want to talk to you. And that's what you want to see. The other thing is what's your financial advisor's background? What kind of licenses do they hold? Do they have a securities license? Do they have only a life insurance license? And I said only because you need everything. If I come to you and I have a stock issue problem, I need to be able to talk to you. You need to be able to talk about it. If you need life insurance, if you need retirement planning, if you need dealing with your estate, planning, can you help me? Where's the levels of where you can't? What can't you do? Yes, where's your expertise? And how many years have you been doing this? Mm-hmm. And then I would ask also, how do you keep up with what's going on in the industries? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people get tired, and that's even with the income tax side too. I have met a lot of accountants and preparers who don't keep up. You've got to keep up. They make us do it in the financial side. We do continuing ed, but some just click buttons so they can answer and they don't read anything. No, because I talk to them. So how do you work with and then what's the age group of people that you generally work with? You can ask that kind of question. My clientele really is very diverse because I have generations of clients. So I have not only maybe the child who is now an adult, but I have their parent. And I now, because people living so long, I got their parent and their parent. I got like 4 or 5 generations. And the thing is that that's the kind of questions you want to ask. You want to know how do you get compensated? Are you just about selling me a product? And I tell my clients straight up, yes, I do get paid for certain products that I offer. But if we sit down and there's no need to offer you anything, it's okay. The only thing I ask for is if I did something right for you, I need the referral. I need you to refer me to some more people because I need to get to more people. But that's my way. Now, some people won't sit with you. Some people, and that's the other thing. What is the level of income that you work with? That's a good question to ask. If I have nothing, can you work with me? Can you get me to get something? I remember years ago, and this is when I first started in the industry, I had an individual who was, we do things generationally. His family always used check cashing places. He never used a bank. And so I literally took him to the bank. Now, at that time, you needed to have a checking account. We don't need checking accounts all the time now. But at that time, we needed one. And I got him a checking account because he was spending so much money in them check cashing places. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I didn't get anything from him. I said, well, if you ever run into someone who can use my services, and I kept stepping. But, you never know in this industry who you're going to meet. He referred to me someone who really hit the lottery.
Mm.
You never know.
Mm.
That's the element of this business, So that's how I would answer. I would ask those questions. You've got to really feel. They've got to feel you. You got to feel them. Okay, the financial advisor. But I suggest that you get someone who is not just in one area, only knows about one area. If you only know life insurance, that's nice. But there's more to this world than life insurance. You might want to do some ETFs. You want to, you want to get in, someone needs to be able to guide you. You might want to do commodities, what you want. Mm-hmm.
So speaking of ETFs, can you break down for my audience the difference between investing in stocks via like each Ameritrade, Scottrade, Robinhood, the difference between that versus ETFs?
Okay, so the difference between, first, let's go break down to the basics of what a stock and a bond is.
Yeah.
When you invest in a stock, well, you're investing in the company. And that is on twofold, is that if the company does well, you do well. If the company doesn't do well, you're not doing so well. Okay. There's ways to look at a stock, and that's a whole nother class also, but there's the value of the stock, the expense ratio, the price expense ratios of the company. How well has it done over the past 52 days, weeks, or how long it's done? How long has it been in existence? Is it each level? Okay. Then there's the bond. What's a bond? A bond, you're basically loaning the company or the government, because you can get a U.S. bond, which is not giving much interest, but you're loaning them the money. And for that loan, you're going to be guaranteed to get your money back plus some growth. It might not be a lot of growth, but you're going to get some growth. Back in the days, we used to have treasuries that were at 14, 15%. Now they're less than 1%. Okay. So if you know the rule of 72 and you've got an investment growing at a 0.09%, well, that means your money going to grow double in about 800 years. So if you got $1 today, 800 years from now to be $2. Woo. Okay, so you got to know what you're investing in. So that's the difference between the stocks and the bonds. Okay, and some people are very conservative and fearful, and so they want not to be out into the market too much. So they'll get a bond. It might be a corporate bond. It might be a treasury, or they want to get into the stocks, but they want some stocks that they know. That's why I tell people, when you get ready to invest in the stock market, invest in stuff that you buy. I take great joy. I had one of my clients, she has a grandson, and her grandson is not about the fads, don't need the name brands, but he got teased about not wearing the name brands. And so we're in the midst of a test right now with him. And because of this stuff going on, I don't know how's it working, but he was being teased for not having. So I said, well, what are some of the companies that they want him to be wearing? So the Nikes, and the food, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, let's buy the stock. And then let's buy the stock, get a stock certificate if we can get it, put it into a notebook for him. And when those kids are teasing them, let him look at it and say, oh, yeah, you buying Nike? Okay, all righty. Keep buying, because that's what I invested in.
Mm-hmm.
Target. Okay, good. Yes. She said the last time I talked to her, she said he went into Target and it was kind of cute because he was picking up the clothing off the floor. And she was like, boy, what are you doing? He said, this is my store. I'm making sure it's good. So this is what we need to do with our children, but we need to do for ourselves. If we're going to be giving money to, example, everybody did Disney, they did the Frozen, they did the Black Panther. I was like, great. And when I got interviewed at the movie theater, I said, this is wonderful. I love to see the people involved and interacting. How many of y'all have the stock?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how you participate. It's something that you're going to buy. You're excited about. Get a piece of the action. So that's the thing with the stocks and the bonds. And so there's a thing called mutual funds,
Yeah.
which is before you get the ETFs. And a mutual fund is a grouping of stocks or a bond or a mixture. And they're put together with a portfolio manager, and there are expenses within there. There's advertising expenses, there's trading expenses, all of that's taking place within. But the money manager for the mutual fund is his job is to make the objective been reached, such as if the objective is for growth, it'll be stocks. If it's for income, bonds, because it's going to create a dividend. Or if it's growth and income, guess what? It's stocks and bonds put together. See, I told you this stuff not neuroscientists.
Yeah.
And so if you have a mutual fund, there's cost in there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The mutual fund manager gets paid no matter what, but usually they get paid more if they reach their goals. Now, with ETFs, which was something that came along a few years ago, and that was exciting. My thought is if we had had ETFs first, we would have never had a mutual fund. Because mutual funds, the cost to get in, usually you're paying anywhere from 4% to maybe 8% to get in of your buy price. You're paying that for them to operate. And then there's fees, even though they say there's no loads. Yeah, I could defeat that within a minute. You go to a site, portfoliofunds.com, and you can see exactly what you're paying for in a no load. Nobody does anything for free. Okay. Even the banks, everybody say, oh, my money's safe. Yeah, because they're making money for you. Okay.
Portfoliofunds.com.
Yes.
Okay. I'm putting it.
Yes, that's where you can go in and log in. And I think they let you log in about a few times before they start to ask for money. You know, but that's one place to check your mutual funds out, you know. But ETFs are much cheaper. They can be as little as, what is it, 25 basis points or 10 basis points. So it's real cheap. Same kind of concept where it's a group with an objective. And what's your objective? If it's growth, then it's a stock group of ETFs. You're not picking them. The manager is picking them. Okay. There could be bonds. Again, you're not doing it, but when you don't know, and my philosophy is, you know, we all want to be the day trader and stuff. And I've heard that if you're a day trader, that means you're not working anywhere else, because I've been day trading before for other folks, you know, because that was my job. But that's you look, I remember during 1987, we were taking turns going to the bathroom, you know, because we needed to watch the market. I'm not a fan of it, but if people want to do it, do it. It's just like with the fact of doing taxes. Anybody can do their own taxes, but no, they pay accountants and preparers to do it because they don't want to do it. You know, people can build their own house. Okay, but you pay somebody else so that you know, it's just who you want to pay for and who will do it for me, you know. And like you mentioned, gig economy, I love that whole idea. There are people who here, especially in New York, to even walk the dogs. They don't want to walk their dogs, you pay somebody to do it. You know, you don't want to stand in a line, you pay somebody to stand in the line for you. You know, we don't know these days what they're going to do. But anyway, when you have ETFs, it allows you to sleep a little bit at night. Also, the thing is, with an ETF compared to a mutual fund, the ETF can be traded during the day, anytime. You can make a sale or you can buy. When it comes to a mutual fund, you can place the sell or buy order, but you won't get it till the 4 o'clock when the market closes. Okay, so it's the timing. We can be in a situation like we are today, and again, the market is going up, down, over, out. What the world, you know? And this is not a time for you to just, say, oh, I'm going to go in and I'm going to trade continuously, because you never know what's going to happen. That's why you have to be methodical about your investing. You have to focus in on your plan. That's why you need a plan. So the ETFs are good because they're cheaper, and you can get more, and you can use some of these vehicles, like you talked about the
Robinhood.
You can also use Betterment. I use Betterment. Those are robo investings, and it's cheaper, and you can invest in ETFs. The Robinhoods, as I'm understanding, you can now, because when it first started, you couldn't pick your own stock. They just gave you stocks, to work with. I think all of them should be used as a learning experience.
Yeah.
Not as an investment experience, a learning experience. And then you can basically put your plan together. This is your extra money, not your money that you're going to, retire on. You might add it to it, but that's not how you do it.
Okay. Everybody, I hope you guys are listening. Miss Woodhouse is dropping some gems tonight, and I'm excited to continue this conversation and to go through these questions. First question I have is from Miles Bell Brown. He wants to know what, in her opinion, is the best investments for people who have large windfalls of money at times and then no income for a few months. So people that may work in the gig economy, we're contractors, we get huge lump sums at one time, and then it may slow down seasonal and you don't have any income coming in.
Yeah, that I run into a lot with independent contractors, and even for folks like myself. Investing at that point is a different way of handling. You do have to have your plan, because you have to make that money stretch. And so you might not be the investor that's going into like individual stocks and riding the market. You might do some things like putting money into a life insurance policy that has a cash value that will grow deferred, that you can get to if you need to later. You might do your own personal 401k plan, so that if in case, and make sure that it has a loan feature to it so you can get some money out. You really have to do what I told you. I'm going to curse that word, budget. You need to budget, because when you do that and stretch it out, like when you get that lump sum, you've got to say, okay, I got to treat this as if this is my month to month. And then also, you got your partners, you got the IRS, Uncle Sam, and then your state entity. And you've got to plan, especially if you have a profitable business, you've got to watch that, because there are some penalties there for under withholding, not paying enough. And it can be up to 25% of what you owe. Not good. So I would say to him is that, do a financial plan, lay it out, see if you really have a windfall. Because if you got a good contract that generates you like $200,000, but then you're not going to see anything else until the end of the year, you got to budget that out and cover the taxes, cover yourself in case, all the insurances, all the things that I talked about in those 7 steps. Then if you have something extra, let's talk about investing.
And then too, we're going to save this for another day, of the fact of writing things off, not writing off too much and showing too much of a loss. That's a topic for another day, and we can go.
I would love to talk about that, girl, because I see folks, they come in there, they talking about, oh, I'm going to write off my clothes, my laundry. And there's ways of doing it, but there's ways by which you have to have the logo of the company and make it. And there's things I can show you what to do, but no, you're right.
Oh, yeah. So next question: stocks and bonds or real estate? Do you prefer one over the other? And if so, why not?
Okay. Again, for myself, it's a diversification, and it's truly one of our questions in our How Money Works challenge to the world. We say, what's diversification? Diversification is having a little bit of everything. First and foremost, yes, I do believe in real estate. I'm a little cautious because of times like now, but having real estate is important. But before you do that, can you survive? Can your real estate survive that investment without anybody being in it, without any tenant? Can you make it happen? Because if not, then that's not the time for you. Stocks and bonds, stocks work good. I'm a person that is truly a believer of managing investments. I like other folks to do it, and then I watching them. And so, I like philosophies of people who like, I'm kind of like, I used to be an options trader, so I kind of like options. There's different elements, but for my clients, I got to make sure that money's there. So I can't it depends on my client's risk tolerance. And see, those are the kind of questions you have to ask the clients. And that's what you got to ask if the financial advisor is not talking to you about your risk tolerance. And if they can't give you an example, like if the market drops by 30%, what are you willing to do? Yeah. Are you letting me work with it, or are you going to say, sell me out? This is how we know what's to do. It's the diagnosis. So I don't have really a preference for anything. I think that all the vehicles out here work for whatever the goal is. Yeah. The first and foremost, what's your goal?
Mm-hmm. All right. Miles, I hope you're listening. He said, thank you. Great info.
Okay. Good.
All right. So Maui has a question, and she, funny enough, she has been our mortgage broker, and she told me something I didn't know yesterday, that everyone that's going through right now the pandemic, deferring payments or putting things off to the side and saying they don't have the money to pay, if they're looking to qualify for a home or refinance, they're getting denied because it's showing that you don't have the funds to pay. So while the pandemic, for some, you may feel like this is a great time for me not to pay my mortgage or not to pay my bills. If you're looking to obtain a home or obtain a refinance or obtain, a car, this, by not paying your bills, it could hurt you in the long run.
It can. And that's one of the things that when we're looking at the CARES Act, we have to really look at what it's saying is that you may just be holding because you do have the money, but you're a little nervous about what's getting ready to happen. And but that's putting you in a strange position. Like, they're not supposed to have a negative impact against you for not paying the credit card and not paying the car note. But what a lot of these places are saying, that 90 days, you better have something. We won't report anything until the 90 days. But 91 day, we report. Okay. So if you think, oh, I'm getting this money and I'm holding it, and what people are, and I'm sorry, but we are the greatest consumers in this world, is the individuals in the Main Street America. We buy. And so you put that money to the side, say, oh, I'm just going to put it away. That thing, what is it? My brother Kevin said it so well. He said the refrigerator is not our friend. And so we keep feeding the refrigerator, and so I would say, no, if you have the money, pay, because you're right. It is going to affect you, and not necessarily right away. It will be that 90-day, because if they're showing stuff on you in that 90-day period, you got an argument. Yeah. And you got to go to your politicians on that, because that was the agreement. But after that 90 days, and also those who are pulling money out of, because the rule said you could take money out of your 401k plan. Be careful with that.
Without penalty?
Without penalty. You can take it out, but you got to pay taxes. You're not going to pay the 10%, but you're going to pay taxes on that money. The unemployment that they're giving you. Some states, I was listening, some states have low unemployment. New York, we're about $475 a week. So that extra 600 added on, that's $1,075. That's nice. You better have some taxes taken out of that, because they're coming for you at the end, So you got to be prepared. That's why sitting with a financial advisor is important, even if it's just a telephone call to say, what do you think? You know, my clients call me all the time. I don't get to them right away. Sometimes I'm busy because I'm trying to get these taxes out. We have taxes. They've extended the time to July the 15th, but we still got to get them done, you know, and we have to, as individuals who work for ourselves, we've got to pay our quarterlies, you know, to protect ourselves. We do not want to pay penalties. Penalties are not good. Okay. Interest is non-negotiable with IRS. Remember that. Penalties are negotiable, but interest is not. Okay.
Thank you for that. Maui wants to know, what would you recommend to invest in when you are just starting? Also, what can I advise my teenage kid or college student child to do with their stimulus checks? What would be the smartest way to use that money right now?
Right now, I'm telling folks with those stimulus checks to put them to the side. Don't look to invest them right now. We don't know what's getting ready to happen. I'm telling you, if we were talking a few years ago, I'd have a whole lot to tell you what to do because I know what the cycles say. This is the indicators are not there for us right now. So I would say to get started is just what I said. Put together a financial plan. Outline your budget. Outline your debt. Outline the types of what do you have? You know, what's your emergency fund look like? Look at your insurances. Are you protected? Do you have everything covered? Now, if you have some extra money, and it doesn't have to be a lot because some of the investments out here, little as $10, you know, but if that's it, put your toe in, you know, but have somebody working with you to give you a little guidance. But to get started, yes, get started. For your children, you know, especially if you're a business owner, I'm going to give you a little tidbit of how you handle the kids. If your children are of age and can work, okay, well, you know, you could put them to work for you.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a write-off for your business. So that allowance that you've been allowing, okay, you can now, you know, that's a little tidbit because I see it all the time. This guy, he does I forgot what they do, something with the pool on the side, and he got his grandchildren, his children, everybody in the commercial. And I'm like, that's a smart move. You know, so for your children, if it's something that you really want them to start to invest, I would say start to look at the ETFs. But I even more would say let them sit with a financial advisor. You know, let them sit and say, these are my goals. You know, they have some real great goals. They'll say, I want to be retired by the time I'm 30. Okay. Possible.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but so, you know, what's your idea? Some of them may have some business ideas.
Yeah.
You know, little and quiet as it's kept, but Milton Hershey, when he started we know Hershey bar, but his Aunt Flo gave him the money every time he came up with a new taste and a new candy. It didn't always work. He'd had like, I think 800 tries. But the thing is that you might want to start to help them to fund that. You know, there are some businesses out there they can start that at little, you know, little stuff, you know, so that I would see. But for the most part, to put that money away. And, you know, we have even in the book, Today's Child, Tomorrow's Millionaire, and the $1 Million Baby, put the money away. Let's see how we can make it grow, you know, for them.
All right. Simone wants to know your opinion on Roth IRAs. Are they a good move?
I love Roths. I think they're excellent. And I'll tell you why. Okay. Now, just the fact that what an IRA is. An IRA is an individual retirement account under IRS law. These are all IRS laws. So is 401k, 403b, 457. They're just tax laws. But the IRA, the Roth, is a little bit better because it leaves a little bit more liquidity. Now, before we had the traditional IRA was because we wanted to be able to deduct it from our income. And then they came up with new tax laws. Okay. So all of us can't qualify even for a Roth event. But the thing is, if you can qualify to put away for a Roth, it's a good thing because you can put the money away. It's for the retirement. You can take the money out that you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you a little bit of liquidity. You cannot take the growth until you're 59 and a half. The beauty in it is that you don't have the RMD, the required minimum distribution, at 70 and a half. Well, now it's 72. So it's got a positive to it. To get started, you can start with a little bit. You can put away, $50 or so a month, and so that'll give you about $600 for the year that you put in, what you can do comfortably, and I know I sound like a broken record, but the bigger part is see a financial advisor, sit with somebody, or just ask the questions after you do your budget. Can I? But I do think the Roths are better. We'd use an analogy. It's like if you were a farmer, all of us are farmers, and if we had the opportunity to pay taxes on the seed or the harvest, which one would we want to do? Seed. Logic, right? So why is it that we're putting all of our money in 401k plans, locking it away, can't get to it, can't use it, got to pay taxes like a lot when we come out. It affects our Social Security. It affects our taxes, so we're paying it on the harvest. So with the Roth, you're paying it on the seed. Yeah. That and the cash value of life insurance, those are and municipal bonds are the three entities that you can pay on the seed. Okay. And so you pay the taxes on the little bit of money and then you let it grow. So I think that's good. And sometimes you put a Roth in a mutual fund, an ETF. You can buy individual stocks, but you have to be careful because this is your retirement money. And remember what it's for. It's for retirement.
Yeah, I started my Roth IRA at 17. So I've been working on it and building it with a bunch of mutual funds. And I know that they just increased the amount that you can contribute, right? It used to be only 5,500, but is it 65 now?
Yes, it's 6,000 now. It's going up. And then if you're over 50 years old, yay, you get another $1,000.
That's good.
They call the catch up, for those who are over 50, because they know that the average person who is again, I'm a card carrying baby boomer, and the baby boomers, the average baby boomer in this country have about maybe 50,000 saved for their retirement. Well, that's not going to help them much. So they needed to do a catch up. So I do like the Roth. I love the living benefit of life insurance. I wish they had taught me that when I first got into the industry, because people use it for, funding to use there and then put it back in and build and put it back in. There's so much you can do with it. And again, one of the largest next to the gun lobbyists is the insurance lobbyist. So that's not going to change. Yeah. And that's under Rule 7702. That's a tax law that says I can put money in and I can take it out at 90% of what I built in it, and it's tax free. Well, what they like to say, tax advantage.
I know the Roth IRA, if you take out before your time, you can get penalized a little bit, right?
Well, if you take it out, not what you put in,
but the
growth, then you still are subjected to that 10% penalty. You don't want to be subjected to that, because that's like giving Uncle Sam your money. And also, while I got a little audience here, listen, y'all, every state, go to unclaimed funds, please, and go find if you got any money there, and go find if your family's got money there. I'm running into folks that's got lines and lists and all of this, of all this money that's sitting there, and they don't know.
I'm unclaimed funds.
Unclaimed funds. The unclaimed funds. What you do is it's at the comptroller's office. So wherever every state, every comptroller has an unclaimed fund, because what happens is if the bank or the insurance company, any state entity holds your money and you're not claiming it, even for your state refunds you might have missed, it'll be listed there and it's held. Now, some states are using it to have fun with. Okay. One state I remember, I think it was Louisiana, gave the kids in the cities an opportunity to have a party.
Mhm.
Okay, that's your money. Go get it. And check and see, because not only for yourself, but check for your family members, you
Mm.
know, because sometimes they have a whole lot of money that, we secretive people. And unfortunate, that's one of the worst secrets going is that we secretively don't say anything. We die. Family doesn't know that you supposed that this money was sitting there.
Mhm.
It gets claimed by the state, is sent to the state, and then that's part of your legacy being thrown away. Don't
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah.
Go look. It doesn't hurt. I still look. I look every I try to do it once a month just to see if anything's updated, and sometimes it's a little bit of money, and sometimes it'll say more than or greater than $100, and you might as well go get it. It's your money
So just if they just Google unclaimed funds.
for their state.
Okay.
For the state. And if you've been a person, because we have been people who move from state to state, so make sure that it's the comptroller's office, because there's some real shysters out there. So
Mhm.
make sure it's the state website. Do not do one of these, because what they'll do is say, yeah, we know you have unclaimed funds, and we'll charge you only $3 for every amount that we recover. No, 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 no. That's free. Okay. Because
Mhm.
you got to be dangerous. When you Google, the first ones that usually come up are the ones for the people trying to shyster you. So what you do is just look at deeper. You want the state. So if you're like in New York, it's the New York State Controllers. If you're in Georgia, it's the Georgia State Controller's Office.
Okay.
Mhm. And unclaimed funds.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And our last question.
Okay.
Please discuss how to build business credit. This could be a whole segment, but we could sum it up.
Mhm.
And how to properly do write-offs on taxes.
Mm.
How to this is a long question.
Okay.
How to determine the best company for life insurance, what to do with 250K if it's just sitting in the bank, best ways to secure loans from a bank, what percentage of a bank of a credit card limit a person should never spend more of, how much of a person's monthly income should they save, ways to get free money. So we kind of covered some of that, but I guess the business part,
Yeah, we
entrepreneurs and people
the
looking.
business for your business. The first thing is that you really should look at your credit line, your personal, because you're going to be the person starting to guarantee your business,
Mhm.
and you want to keep it afloat. Now, I will say also what you need to do is to if you're looking for money, I'm gonna give another place. There's a place called, it used to be called Foundation Library for Research.
Mhm.
Now it's called Candid. I don't know why, but it's candid.org. Okay. And it's a way to find some funding for your business. But to build your credit is to first, number one, and yeah, that's another talk that we can do, is how's your business structured?
Yeah.
Because if you're a sole proprietorship, well, that's you. It's just you. And so the credit is your credit. If you want to build your business name and your business credit, then you need to be another type of entity, either an S Corp, a C Corp. You might be a partnership. And the partnership, if you've got adult children, they can be minority partners. They can be a 1-2%, and that's a partnership. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so that depends, to build it is that you have to extend yourself a little bit into the business, and maybe loan the business a little bit of money, let them get a secured credit card, under the business name. This is what your tax. That's why the tax ID number is so important.
Yeah.
People use tax ID numbers for all sorts of reasons, but your IN number is really to identify. Get a bank account in the business name. Structure it just like you would a person. And then once you do that, now you're going to start to spend through the business. But you're going to pay. And back to the percentage, you shouldn't have as much as, don't extend more than like 20-23% of the available credit, but keep putting it back in. Let it stay out, bring it back in. Try not to build too much on interest, but to create. And one other thing, as business owners, the best thing you can do is, if you're a business owner, and again, I can't see anybody, but I'm going to say, you need to know, do you know the manager of the bank you're banking at? You need to get to know them. They need to know you. Okay, when you walk into the bank, go in there and introduce yourself to them. Hi, I have a business account here, and I just wanted to get to know you. I have some goals and dreams. The reason why is sometimes they can extend a better credit line just by the fact that they see you and they know who you are. If they don't know who you are, no chance. So that's some of the things you need to do, is to develop. If you have more than one bank, then get to know the branch managers in that bank. Okay. Don't just be online all the time. Get to know the people. Once we break down this pandemic thing going on, get in there and introduce yourself. And, because those are the ones, just like what happened with this thing with the PPP, the payroll protection plan. The reason why people didn't get a lot, because the banks were in charge, and they're still in charge of distributing the money. Now, you think about it for yourself. If you're getting ready, you got the job to distribute money, okay, and you want to know what type of person you're going to give this money to, because you're looking to see if they're going to give it back, and you don't know them. Who does that? The banks. That's what they did. So you need to, and you still can apply. There's some more PPP money out there, but you need to know, you got to go to your bank. If you use only a credit union, well, make sure the credit union is authorized.
Yeah.
Okay. And that gives us an opening eye for our businesses right now. If your financial institution was not cleared to do the PPP, then you need to change. You might not want to leave them totally, but you might need to add another one that was,
Yeah.
Okay, I hope this was helpful.
Yes, it's been extremely helpful. And I thank you so much for taking time tonight to discuss all of this, because it's important information that we all need to hear, that a lot of people may not be privy to hear, or may have just heard for the first time. And oftentimes we jump into investments, into stocks, because it's a trend, because everybody's doing it, without properly educating ourselves on one of the milestones that you mentioned, how it works, what is the process behind this, what is my return in this. And sometimes people get into it looking for a quick return, and that's not always the best mindset.
And remember that return means that there's a capital gain tax to it. I know I sound like I've broken record on these taxes, but been in the industry so long, I have seen businesses destroyed because they did not do the taxes properly. So be careful.
Someone just commented, they said the smaller local financial institutions have a better chance of getting the PPP. I got mine this week.
Okay, that's good. Congratulations. Yes. As that's why I said, is make sure your institution is involved. And if they know, or they've been charged to give this money, work with it, apply. The Chamber of Commerce, they usually have a little entity. You apply. You got a business. You got to you got to take care of it, and you're in business to make money. I don't care what people out there are talking about. Oh, you get all these write-offs, and it's not about the write-offs. It's about making the money and keeping the money. How do I keep it? And there are many different ways you can do it. But again, sit with a financial advisor, talk to somebody, feel comfortable, and then see what you need to do to sustain yourself, because we need to be in business.
Yeah,
we do.
And we all need each other too.
That's right. And use each other. Yeah. Go to each other. It may cost a little bit more. I hate it because can't go to nails now, but I in Harlem, I was looking for my person who does my nails, and I went looking for her because I wanted someone when I walk in that they recognize me, they give me a smile, they make me feel my money is meaningful to them. You know, some people, when you own your own business, you walk in and they got the face going, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Make people enjoy. Now, I'm gonna say also to the consumer, stop looking because it's a small business for the deal. Stop looking
Mm-hmm.
for the cut, the price cut. They
Mm-hmm.
got to survive too, you
Yes.
know. So let's work together and build our businesses, because I think many of people today have realized that if you work for somebody else, you are building somebody else's dream. If
Yes.
you work for your own self, even if you got to do it part time, you are working for your dream, and you can give that any type of hours. Look, you can give 8 hours to a job, you can give another 8 hours to yourself, and then the
Mm-hmm.
other 8 hours you get to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yes, that's so true. And I was talking to my friend about that today, the importance of investing in yourself.
That's right. And investing in each other's businesses, you know, trusting. We need to learn to trust. And that's another topic too, about even having trust, having our businesses in trust, having our property in trust. You know, it's a powerful situation. The person who's in the White House right now is a perfect example of trust, having trust.
Mhm.
You know, there's a way to protect yourself from Uncle Sam. And he, like he said, what did he say on the TV? He says, look, just because I was smart enough to use the tax laws.
Mm.
So we need to learn those tax.
Yep, exactly.
They're out there, and
But
I know them, so I'm going to be sharing.
and we're going to bring you back on to share that and to share more. So everybody who's watching this video tonight, if you can, just comment at some point in the next week or so. I'm going to put a poll out in the group. Let me know what topic you want us to cover next. I'm thinking to call it the how
How
much
money works.
our money works series, and we're going to dive into different topics and different subjects regarding finances so that we could all be educated and understand how money works, but also how to plan for our future with trust, wills, with understanding estate planning, life insurance, the right type of life insurance, what to stay away from. I mean, we can talk about this all day, but we got to break it up, because if not, we'll be here till next week.
Yeah, we'll be.
But
So
before
Jay, I just want to thank you so much for this opportunity. It was wonderful. I love this. I love to share what I've got, you know, and if I can help anyone, please let me help.
Mm-hmm. And again, I'm going to put Mrs. Woodhouse's information in the comments. Again, please reach out to her. We've had some people already order the book already. And a lot of people have said they're going to be reaching out to you for that free financial analysis. Before I let
Okay.
you go, I always like to ask
Uh-huh.
people that I have on, outside of just working as an advisor, you know, and helping people, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies?
I
Mhm.
love to travel.
Okay.
I'm a traveler. I,
Favorite country or
I'm
state?
addicted. Huh?
Favorite country or
What was
state?
that?
Favorite country or state you've been?
Oh, I'll tell you, one of my favorites is to go to Africa. I love Africa. I've been to Egypt. I've been to Ghana, Nigeria. I haven't been to South Africa yet, so that's on my agenda. I do want to go to, because I've never been to Tahiti, so that's another place I got to get to. But my favorite places are to really, I love Africa. I feel like being home. I'm home, and so that's my favorite places. But I love to cruise also.
Mhm.
So my treat to myself when I retire, because I take like 15-day cruise. I saw a 61-day cruise and leaving from New York.
Mm.
I'm going to be there with my balcony and and just sitting up enjoying. That's my dream. That's what I want to do. Mhm.
I hear that. Yeah, I haven't been to Africa yet, but that was on my list this year. But with everything that happened, we had to cancel our Egypt trip. But definitely we cruise too. So that transatlantic cruise is something we want to do too. So
yeah, I want to do that. I had 2 cruises scheduled this year. One to go to the Caribbean as we normally go, but then I had one to go to Alaska because I wanted to see the Northern Lights.
yeah.
And so I'm still going to get it done, but I just got to wait till things calm down. But I love to travel. Yes, that's my heart. And next to traveling, I love to play games. So my favorite game, which people have now run away from me for, is Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki. The Cash Flow. I'm trying to find some more people to play with because they say I'm too aggressive.
You gotta teach me that. I'll play with you.
Oh, we can play that. Okay, when we look, I know where you're at now, so we friends. So first thing we meet, we say I bring out my Cash Flow game.
Gotcha. Yeah, we gonna play when
it's Monopoly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
We gonna have to do that. So I'm gonna let you go. And I want to talk to you offline. But before we go, one piece of advice you have for somebody right now who's struggling, who's trying to find their way financially, who feels like they're up to here, they can't see past where they're at with their bills, with everything that has happened. What would you say to that person right now?
First of all, I would say to them, never give up. You are a child of God, so you are allowed to have everything that you want. So first, change your mindset. What you see is not real, okay? It can change. Now, and it can change in a second. The second thing I would say to them is get with a financial advisor, sit with them. Let's see where the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get diagnosed. And then once you get the diagnosis, then act on it. Mm-hmm. You've got to act. It is not impossible for you to not achieve your dreams. It is possible. There is possibility.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Woodhouse. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. We'll keep the broadcast up here on my Facebook group for another 24 hours. Then it'll move permanently to my YouTube channel. But you have Mrs. Woodhouse's information, so feel free to contact her. And if you guys have any questions, any suggestions on ways in which we can improve this for our next series, please feel free to reach out to me. All right. You guys have a blessed night and be safe.
Bye-bye. Be blessed and be safe.